Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one, yes, we have NEEKO jungle as well as the quote-unquote buffed Talia jungle. Not that the buff to Talia's really does anything, it doesn't. The NEEKO jungle is the interesting one because the Q now does bonus damage to monsters. The 3-hit passive on the W now does bonus damage to monsters. The R basically can actually hit champions now because she can knock them up. And obviously she can become Romp, or any monster that she wants to be. So let's see how effective this ends up being. Less of an expose on the comparisons between champions, old NEEKO, new NEEKO, more so a look at how this reworked NEEKO functions in the jungle. Now, Talia starts red side. I love a good Talia, but right, don't seemingly want to have that champion be dominant. Let's have a look to see what we're doing here. Excuse me, I know you want to watch how she clears instead of clicking around, but let's have a look and see how the wolves go. All right, we've got the W going, so we got the passive procs from the 3-hit. We've got the Q going that we can kind of do at a semi-spam level. I mean, not really a spam level, but that's the ability we use to clear the jungle. And then our cross timer will be 220. Well, that's disconcerting, just a little bit. Imagine invading and you see a Grom. Yeah, so it's definitely not the blue buff. Now, 220 is comparable to a Viego. Usually a Viego will do a 219 in perfection. Mostly 222 is what you'll see. That's pretty good. And obviously the Raptors is done 241 the red. The Talia threat here is pretty good. We got 200 years in set. Talia could have easily done red side cut down and ganked this before the NEEKO to get tempo advantage. The NEEKO, sorry, is on the red buff here. You know, by coaching, I kind of want to click around the map, look at lanes and things like this, but obviously here we want to watch the clear. So we're making sure we get that auto attack going. We have E now, obviously. Talia should show a bot lane if that wave thins out a little bit, but we'll watch this first just to make sure we know what's going on. They do slip out a ward, which is great. Now, 310. What in the living hell am I looking at? So the Talia finishes this one off. She's at a 317 full clear. The NEEKO is definitely... I couldn't even find the NEEKO on the minimap. Walks a baby chicken across the mid lane here. Is able to kill the Akshan. That was okay. That was right. So that's actually fascinating. This here, we got to look at that again because that's fascinating, right? Look at this. You're the Akshan, right? And you're just looking at this, right? You know it's the NEEKO, right? Like you know it's the NEEKO, but it doesn't pop out at you. And I think that's the huge thing about this. Obviously, it's not the fact that you necessarily that Q missed. It's not necessarily that you're gonna be super duper sneaky, but it's the immediate reaction, right? Like if a Hecarim comes turbo steamrolling through wards and on in your peripheral vision, you're gonna see it. You're gonna react to it. But a baby chicken or baby Krug walks around, it's like, well, you know, that's not really a minion, like it's not really expected, right? So it's that reflex that's gonna be interesting. And I think in low elo, you're gonna be able to sneak a lot of ganks here. This will definitely be better in lower elo, as we do see the Talia walk through vision. She'll still get the gank off anyway, because bot lane is just, they're war, but they don't pay attention to it at all. Set hits a beautiful E, an absolutely exquisite E, honestly. That's going to allow them to disengage, so well done. I love a good set player. Now, Alternator, we're rushing that. In this particular case, Gus Walker Hatchling is always good on anyone, basically, in the jungle. Now, instead of going to the Gromp and sequencing down, maybe looking to do something about the on top versus the Poppy, we're actually cutting down to kind of handle this overstay by the Talia. Again, not something you really want to be doing. You know, the concept here is, yeah, I want to go sequence Gromp down, but at the same time, NEEKO, you could farm. I'm seeing farming numbers like 8 CS plus. Like the farming is pretty good, as you saw from the first one clear. And now just Skull Crab just walking up. You see the ping, and it's like, we know it's the NEEKO, right? But like this is a good cut. I like this. Now, typically, yes, we would want to do this. If she stays, we can kind of, you know, counter jungle dive. But if they're really not going to leave and it's truly free ganks, like 80%, right? 80% chance I can get kills and success, I'm going to cut that because it's worth it for me. Ward dies right in front of us. That's really, really good as well. The Kiwi are doing so much, plus the extra third hit there on the W. Like, that's 50 flat as far as I know. 50 flat bonus damage to monsters. Here we go, baby. Raptor once more shows up. And, don't get an assist, but again, nice. I like it. I like it. I'm not a look, the win rate is like 38%. It's not objectively going to be super duper amazing, I think, but there's definitely there's a viability, right? Like way more so than before, because I remember not yelling, but like people coming to the Discord when she was released, new jungle. I'm like, it's not a jungler. she's a mid laner. She maybe can do some unhit builds. Riot have explicitly stated as such. They did not want her in the jungle. Now, though, this is a very explicit, like, hey, here's some direct jungle buffs that we can give you as a niche playstyle. It's definitely not going to be a main supporter role whatsoever, but so far, the Scuttle Crab into the lane, the Blue to the Raptors, and the Baby Raptor to the mid lane. Yeah. I think that's hilarious, actually. So we have 3 stacks in the Dark Harvest. The Taliyah shows on a deep ward there. Always love the deep ward for second rotations. If you have prior for warding of the second spawn camps, please do so. Now, you know, I've got to try and find the Taliyah somewhere because I can't. Where is she? Like, seriously, where did she go? I actually can't find her now on the map at all. Double click. What am I looking at here? She's standing still? Where is she? What happened? NEEKO doesn't exist on the map, or what's going on? like this is just really weird from a coaching point of view and a gameplay point of view. Like, look at this. He's literally just being a minion. I'm not sure what the goal of this is other than humor, but that's really trippy. I'm leaving this in because I don't know how to deal with this. I double click, I'm like, she's a minion, right? But which minion is she? Anyway, so we shadowed through mid lane and for no real purpose other than the lulls and the kick Ws. We're going to use our clone here as a distraction, obviously not huge. And we see the Bard rotate from the with the Taliyah from the bottom side, so we become whatever the hell that is. And now, of course, we can smite that away. We will stay on her. Again, we can use our clone a little bit for no reason whatsoever. We're hitting a nice root onto the Taliyah. That was actually very nice. And there's a good look at the ult, okay? So let's just look at that again, because I think this is the critical thing that most NEEKO players will enjoy a lot. It's the fact that now, you know, we go and we're channeling. We're going to do the knockup for 0.6 seconds and then guarantee the smash damage, which, of course, then stuns. So it's really nice to be able to say, okay, look, I can try and use my proto buff, I can try and make a good play, and I can actually hit the ultimate, right? So that the fact of the matter is the outplay potential from the ult now is mitigated. It's reduced a little bit because, you know, when you've got this much channel time and you can just flash away and leave with no, like if she doesn't hit the E or there's no root, you know, it's tough for NEEKOs. Now it's like, look, I'm showing my ult, I'm channeling the sucker. You have that amount of time to leave before I'm going to knock you up and guarantee the smash down. Now, that is, of course, a 1.25 second channel time. So now, the jungling aspect of this game is, well, this has been fun, but at the same time, you've got to understand that I think you must not get as distracted as we're doing here. We want to be on the Krugs, we want to be sequencing upside. Obviously, now we're concerned that the Taliyah should go topside and try and snack this away. We didn't go ahead and take this. We based and made sure we got next components. We'll go ahead and snack this baby up as well. Rugs into Raptors with the red buff on the way. I mean, it's always nice to have good sequencing, but I think red side is kind of... Okay, here we go. Here's the Taliyah's ult. Obviously, she does not get locked out from dishing damage anymore, only from being dealt damage against. Set has moved to the mid lane. Obviously, now we have a Krug. There's a Krug in the lane. Oh, who sent this Krug here? Make sure we hit that root. We'll hit our Q. We'll hit our autos, and we get that kill nicely done. Good rotation again. So you get to have fun. You get to troll enemies. You get to mislead enemies. And you get to rotate in funny forms. I think I'm not encouraging this, but definitely if you're a NEEKO main and you like jungle, now is the time. Basically, we'll swap that onto the Herald. The Aurelia goes and kills the Akshan, which is great for some strange, ungodly reason. They're giving ADCs AP back in the Rage Blade and giving them AP scaling. It's like, right, it's just going to break the game next patch. I hope they pull themselves back. Like, it's a little bit insane. But that was pretty quick, too. The bonus damage to monsters. Yeah, it's doing a lot. Now, you've got to be careful with this kind of stuff, right? Because obviously, bonus damage to monsters has had a mixed history with us. Anyone remember 2011? We think Darius should be a jungler. We think Mordekaiser should be a jungler. We think everyone should be a jungler. I mean, it just ended up all those champions are shit, except for Talon. And then they had to remove it all later because he was fine, actually. So, I mean, these things are always dangerous to play with, but in this case, it's very subtle. And it seems to be okay. The first clear is quite fast, though. So I don't think you're not going to be a ganking jungler, right? Oof, we missed that one. But we're not going to be a ganking jungler. We can gank, we can rotate, we can mislead, we can misdirect. It's not a Shaco level, but it's definitely something that could work viably with a decent fusion of farming and ganking. provided you don't get distracted being a minion or a ward or a baby Krug or whatever it might be. We have here the fellas getting ganked by the Talia. So basically, she's trying to do that gank. The NEEKO is 5 CS ahead, 5-0-0. We sequence upside. We have the heralds here. We see them on bot lane. We're like, okay, cool. Let's activate and punch this one. Here we go. Should be absolutely free. Scanning for the Akshan, always in case he's against a wall or shilling somewhere else. They're changing the oracles as well soon. Instead of 10 seconds, it's going to be 6 seconds, which I hate, but it's going to have 2 charges, so 12 seconds total combined. Right? It's going to be interesting. The recharge time should obviously go up, compensate, but we'll see how that goes. Bard does die. We'll just go and do this. I mean, this is absolutely fine because we have this, so, you know, whenever that's necessary, that's cool. I'll take it. I think is there anyone who actually doesn't like this dragon? I think everybody likes this dragon. Now, this player has had 3 really great games on the champion, including one destroying a Rengar. While that was a good game, there was a bit of level 1 blood, and I don't like to see off-meta junglers or junglers who were trying to assess their viability, you know, go back and come back with like an Amtome or a Ruby, whatever it might be, right? The first blood kill. I want to see raw, only jungle item, unless of course you're playing MSI and then you don't want the jungle item, you want to just play Sejuani without it for some strange reason. We want to see that, right? And that was like, that cross time for me is huge. Because off-meta junglers very typically get invaded on the second phase of their clear, and if you're so much faster than even the meta jungler against you, they're not invading shit, and you have that surprise factor. So we are currently at 6,000 gold at 12 minutes. It's absolutely respectable. This is the lane gank that I like, right? Like I know that's what we're looking to do, but it's still interesting. Oh god, I lost which one it was. Which one was it? It was this one. Okay, we got it right. Yeah. Okay. You think they're gonna count? I mean, this is very entertaining to watch, provided you keep your camera clicked on her. Let's see if this develops into anything. This is gonna work, isn't it? This is absolutely gonna work here. The Bard goes through the wall. We swap. We do miss the E, but that doesn't really matter because we'll have the R, so we can do the knock-up stonks. We hit that. The Talia is gonna rotate. We'll cut in front of a wall. We'll get the double kill there. Oh, here, excuse me. And we just missed that E, but that's fine. That was hilarious. So there you go. Lane ganking minion NEEKO jungle. Is this the new best lane ganking jungler? I think so. I mean, Rengar, you get detected, right? Exclamation point. Sion, everybody knows that you're cowards and he yells it at you while he runs towards and away from you. NEEKO, on the other hand, is just an indistinguishable minion. Fascinating. Now, we do got a little bit of a coin flip invade here for no particular reason, but that damage was pretty good. Does she wait for the E here? Do we try and maybe hit an EQ of the wall? Let's see. We're going to rock a belt and throw the Q out, but yeah. Talia actually moved. Goes to the Grump, so okay, cool. Right, all camps on the top side plus the red spawning. Don't be distracted by the red. We do have Wolves, Grump, Raptors plus their red. Obviously, the Irelia is now roaming to the bottom side. The Akshan is there. The Belios is unfortunately dead. And the Poppy is smashing top lane. Love Island top lane. Tanks do be tanking and relaxing. We'll snack that baby up. That red also just disappears on our minimap, so we know that the Tilly is there, obviously. Especially if she's low. We have vision here. She takes this. We'll know she'll reset and take that, so just, yeah. Ignore the lapse in judgment. I'm too busy thinking about all the things we can become and how we can use them for ganks. Irelia kills on the bottom lane. Today it does show up on the top side here against the Poppy, who's just going to press the W button, do the knock up so that she Ornn can't hit R2, and then of course has to flash the Talia W because that is not a good one to get stuck into. NEEKO in the meantime, down on the bottom side, we have left a little bit of experience on the map through our, you know, fun time, our cloning fun time, our metamorphosis fun time, because obviously that takes a lot of time investment. And you have to make sure to stay disciplined. And the Talia was level 10 first. Should she have been? Discussion to be had. Don't really think she should have been, but regardless. Keep the foot on the pedal. Be very proactive with your jungling as per usual. None of that changes. And once you've reached Rocket Belts, Sork Shoes, Mejai's, and Zhonya's, and all these things, you're basically gonna be fine. Once the off-meta phase of your champion is no longer off-meta, by that I mean you're fed enough that it doesn't matter where you actually got your gold from, then you can just do absolute NEEKO things. I know a lot of people are excited to try this, but it's nice to see, for me, the fundamental clear, the lane ganks, the rotation of Scuttle Crabs and Baby Krugs, and obviously the damage here is really good. 901, we have 10 out of 16 KP, we took a Herald easily, we took a Dragon easily. These are the things that we use to measure the viability of junglers. All of the other stuff is just semantics and strategy, right? Can I do the counter ganks? Can I 1v1 the enemy jungler? Can I counter jungle? Can I do the things necessary to still help my team? Now, when I go ahead and play my Kai'Sa jungle, I'm definitely more limited in that respect, right? Like, that is a true off-meta, not so good, don't play a pig. If I scale, sure, it's great. But you have to be able to play perfectly and still be able to get your econ equal to the enemy jungler such that you can control the map. And NEEKO has done that very, very well. Talia has not done that. She has now died to the Aurelia 1v1. The Bard shows up, and again, it's an Aurelia. I saw a tweet about someone saying the things we are afraid of are the Aurelias when it comes to new items. I'm like, when's the last time anyone actually feared an Aurelia? The champion feels like she's really been mid or mediocre for so long, actually. I don't think anyone fears Aurelia. I mean, like, she's annoying, sure, but no one, I don't think anyone is delusional enough to say that she's been OP or strong, necessarily. So, either way, yeah, some people's perspectives are a little warped, but I do understand the perspective at the same time. She has 8,100 gold and Talia 6,700, so boom, join the mini wave. Do you think anyone's gonna count? Like, you should count the minions, but like, do you think anyone's gonna notice that there's 7 instead of 6? He's not noticed. Yeah. He's noticed now. He noticed now. he did notice. Okay. Initially, I wasn't sure if he did. So either way, we're gonna rotate here. Beautiful. That was nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Moving out of the lane into the river, get the knock up, get the kill. Excellent use of the ultimate there, and of course a triple kill, chucking the Q for the final. Nice, cool, fun. A lot of damage, the stacked Mejai's, Zhonya's, we have Rocket Belt. I mean, what more could we possibly want in this particular case? I don't know, my friends. This is looking way better than it was pre-rework, and I think that's the biggest thing, right? Does the rework make a champion more dynamic, more modern, able to exist in the meta, in positions? Okay, so see, that they know. That they will know, unless you stand perfectly still. So, the gimmick, is it a gimmick at this point? Like, I think it's definitely done a good job misleading. Once people get used to it a little bit more and they turn their awareness up against NEEKOs, I think it will obviously be less of an issue. But here we go, going over the wall is the Bard. Doesn't matter, we'll root you in place, sir. Now we can catch the wave and shove the bottom side. We do have the Herald we can punch as well. Aurelia's going to force rotations on the top side. Ornn hits the R, Yasuo hits the R, Ornn hits the E. Puppy's going to push this out. We're not actually going to use this Herald just yet because Aurelia died and everyone wanted to go back to base. So we got to keep that in mind. Here we go. Okay, so you got your EQs over the walls, QEs over the walls, whatever you want over the walls, much like most champions in this particular regard. As long as you can hit camps over the walls. That's a nice little bit of vision circumvention, just to look here. This is what I like to see from people who know their champion, but also jungle, right? Look at this. You know you can get around the wall here, but you need to go camo here. So basically, as long as she times it properly, she shouldn't be detected. Now, if someone's clicking, you can see the pad. You can see the animation, but no one's clicking on the map when there's no reason to do so in that particular space, right? So if there's a herald up and they look, yeah, they'll see you, but at the same time, just good to know, right? It's good to know to have that thing. Oh, well, that hit? Okay. Apparently it did. Akshan's going in on us. We do have our ult available. Knock up, knock down, and we can follow. Is it me? Or was that a hell of a lot of damage from the EQ? And this. That was a lot of damage. So, as you can see, Rocket Belt Zhonya's 25 stack Mezaj, Soul Boots plus Needlessly Large Rod does good work. So, provided you're following somewhat of this framework, I think you'll find yourselves having pretty good games in the jungle. Actually, no joke, no lie, here it is, the truth for you. I've enjoyed myself. And this is a good example of mid-game macro snowballing. I did cover closer games, losing games, and general principles I think everyone should be worrying about when it comes to mid-game macros on the main channel tonight, so you can go ahead and look at that. I lost her again. She became a minion and I lost her again. I'm looking, like you can see I'm scanning. Oh my goodness, I should just double click it, but it's not in my nature, right? It's not in my workflow. I've done thousands of open VOD reviews for so many years where I can just click my mouse onto the champion and flow. And now with NEEKO, I'm looking for it to click on her, to look at her without having to select her. And obviously now I have to press this, right? have to double tap it to try and get to the champions. So that's definitely thrown me for a loop in this VOD review. That's what's really been happening, because I'm looking I want to look quickly. Wait, where'd she go? Fascinating. Nice rotation there by the Aurelia in terms of trying to kill people. We're going to make sure we take the top inhib, the mid inhib, the bot wave is pushing Poppy TPs in here. They're not actually going to end, if you can believe it. Let's see why. Okay, double kill. Death. Gold amount. Well, you can still flash the ult, you just gotta make sure you don't get knocked up, right? Instead of flashing the down damage, now you now have to flash the knock up just to ensure that you don't actually get the guaranteed damage on you. See, now obviously everyone's gonna be respawning. It's 21 minutes. Yeah, exactly right. The wave clear from Talia is particularly remarkable. Ornn is tanky and has a decent amount of wave clear with this W. We're getting super, super low. Does he just kill everyone here? This should be quadro pentakill. Not quite. Okay, so that's why it doesn't end. Well, lazy backs will kill you. Better just to go run to the brush, get away from them. But it's funny that Ornn try to kill the clone with quite a lot of anger, actually. Right, we should just respawn now, hopefully, and go and do the Baron, but they just do without her. 3 inhibs means patience. You can go ahead and take the dragon, you can take the Baron. There's no real stress on the map for you. Just make sure you don't go farming your jungle, right? Like, we're about to end. That was great. We almost did it. Take the Baron. Easy snack. Don't really need the dragon at all, to be honest with you. Wait for the waves. And one last fight will take us to salvation. I mean, she doesn't have the Baron buff. Neither does the back one. There we go. It's very clearly the one without the Baron buff. So these are the cool things, right? Like, I think we've learned a lot about, you know, what shows and what doesn't. So obviously the extra minion, it's the NEEKO. Obviously no Baron buff, it's the NEEKO. There are certain tells you can go with. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how that develops. 200 Gears decides to take over, and ranged mage jungle Shaco thing doesn't really get the triple kills here, but hopefully you enjoyed and learned something. Fun game. Nice to see a little bit. Obviously, we didn't talk as much about the jungle. We're just talking about the champion and having a laugh a little bit. I think it's good to do that every now and then. The coaching channel has all the Giga serious stuff anyway, so let me know what you think in the comments, honestly. I think this is definitely more amusing than I thought it was going to be. I'm definitely more on board than I thought I was going to be, and I definitely think it's something that's going to be really fun for a lot of people if you're that way inclined, and the farming tempo is pretty damn good, so you should have no difficulty 8 CS, 9 CS PMing if you leverage your position properly for farming, counter jungling, and split pushing. I do think it is there, and obviously the assassination potential, as we saw, you know, you're looking at like 1,000 damage just from your passive and your Q and your E at later stages of the game, right? Anyway, so I will see you all in the next tutorial.